What's going on, you guys? Today we're going to talk about how to deal emotionally in the time of crisis, in a time of uncertainty, in a time where you don't know how things are going to turn out. So how can we adjust and use our mind to lead us in the right direction, to lead us to feel the way that we want to feel in a time where it's difficult to do that? So let's get right to it. For those who are new to this channel, we talk about three things in particular. We talk about peak performance, mindset, and achievement. Achievement towards your goals, achievement towards your ambitions, achievement towards your dreams. And today we're going to talk about how to emotionally deal with a crisis, which is right up our alley. Because in order to stay in a state of peak performance, we have to know how to control what we think about. We have to know how to control our mind. And I'll tell you, I was very conflicted whether I wanted to make a video about this because, as you know, you're going to turn the TV on today and you're going to see coronavirus. You're going to go on your Facebook newsfeed and you're going to see coronavirus. You're going to see all the posts about people going into the grocery stores, buying toilet paper and buying all the food and all that stuff, because that is the only thing we're talking about right now, with good reason. But the problem is everything that we're seeing on the news is negative news. It's either negative news, it's fake news, it's uncertainty news. We're having a lot of fear spread, a lot of uncertainty. And the reality is, I was wondering, should I make this video? Because people are going to think I'm just jumping on the corona trend in order to get people to view this. And while that might be true, the reason for that is if I can spread just a bit of positivity through this mist of fear and this mist of darkness, then you better bet I'm gonna make a video to do that, because right now we need it. I searched online before I made this video for videos on how to emotionally deal with a crisis, especially coronavirus, and I didn't see much. All you're gonna see is disinfect surfaces around you and use hand sanitizer and make sure to wash your hands and face mask it and all those things. I'm not seeing how to control your mind in order to have a positive outcome to this entire thing. I'm not seeing how to think about good things, that way you can naturally boost your immune system. I'm not seeing any of that stuff. We're not talking about it. People don't understand it. People don't know what to do. We are in a state of fear. And today I'm going to give you some practical tips that you can start using immediately in order to best prepare yourself for this situation, in order to strengthen your immune system, and in order to live a better life throughout this whole chaotic situation. I'm not going to talk about the physical things. We're going to talk about our mental things, what we can do with our mind in order to best serve us in this situation. Now, the very first thing I wanted to talk about is ask yourself the question, what can you control when it comes to this? What can you do about this? What can you do about COVID-19, this virus spreading across the continents? What can you do about that? Can you stop the spread? Can you slow it down? Maybe a little bit, but the reality is we are one person in a world of many. Okay, there's not much that you can physically do to stop this. So then we have to look at what can we do? Well, we can keep proximity from people we know who have this, which I personally don't know anyone. I don't know any friends who even know anyone who has this, but again, this is the 14th of the month. It could change very quickly. But keep proximity to safety. Stay home as much as possible. In a time of crisis, you want to avoid the crisis area. You want to avoid the hotspots. As an example, I'm 3 hours away from New York City. We were supposed to go see a Broadway show in New York City. We were going to see Mrs. Doubtfire, which was going to be awesome, I'm sure. But we're not going there anymore because that is literally a hotspot for this coronavirus. It's a hotspot for the crisis. Avoid areas that have it. Okay, that is something you can control. But check this out. You want to know the number one thing that you can control throughout this entire time that we're going through right now? Your attitude is the one thing that you can control no matter the situation. And you might be watching this saying, Brandon, it's so much easier said than done to watch our attitude and to think great and to feel good. How can we do that? Well, don't take it from me. Take it from someone named Viktor Frankl. who is the author of the book Man's Search for Meaning. I'm sure you've heard of this book. It's one of the most famous reads out there about attitude and logotherapy. And if you're in the psychology field or practical psychology, then you understand it. You've probably read this book. But Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. He spent much of his life, and a good portion of his life, I should say, in concentration camps during World War II and during the Holocaust. And while everyone around Viktor was dying, they were dying from diseases, they were dying from the gas chambers, they were dying from malnourishment, while everyone else was down and out, Viktor kept a positive attitude because Viktor studied his surroundings. He was a psychologist before everything fell down. And when he was in the camps, he still studied people. He stayed true to his craft. And he noticed that the people that stayed alive the longest were the people who were best able to maintain their emotional state when they needed it most. It was the people who were able to maintain that state of humor, that state of joyousness, that state of, no matter the situation they were in, they were able to think of things that made them feel good. So Viktor practiced this. Actually, he was one of a very small percentage of individuals who actually made it out of the concentration camps with his life, to which he wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, which I highly recommend that you read. And he went on to speak everywhere about attitude and how no matter the situation that you're in, no matter where this coronavirus is, no matter whether it's spreading to your hometown or someone you know gets it, understand that it's your attitude that you can control no matter the environment, no matter the people around you. It is your attitude that you have control over. Think of this acronym, E plus R equals O. Events can happen, but it's your reaction to the event that determines the outcome. So right now, let's take a look at that. What's the event? Coronavirus, obviously. The second thing is our reaction. That is something we can control, is our reaction. So coronavirus is here. How are you going to react to it? Are you going to react in fear? Are you going to freak out on your social media pages and stay secluded in your home and not do anything with your life right now because of that? Maybe it's your reaction, but I'll tell you what, other people are going to have a different reaction that's going to lead to a different outcome. No matter what, things are going to happen to you. Bad things are going to happen. This isn't going to be the last crisis we see, but it's your reaction to that event, to the crisis, that determines how you will come out of this on the other end. It could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 2 years. But I'll tell you this, I know that I'm going to try to live and try my best to live in a beautiful state throughout the course of this and afterwards and throughout the next crisis that we go through. Because as human beings, we live with certainty, but we live a lot of the time with uncertainty as well. And some people are more able to deal with uncertainty, but a lot of people aren't. So because of that, I'm making this video to help you with that. So remember, ask yourself, what can I control? And then remind yourself of the acronym E plus R equals O. Things are going to happen, but it's all about how you react to those things that determines your outcome. Now, the second thing that we can do in order to emotionally deal and cope during a time of crisis is to adopt and practice an attitude of gratitude. Okay? Gratitude is one of the most empowering emotions that we can feel at any given moment in our life. And next time you feel bad, I want you to try this. I want you, when you're in a state of despair, when you're in a state of fear, when you're in a state of uncertainty, I want you to just think of something that you're absolutely grateful for. Think about the person in your life that you couldn't live without. Think about something that you have in your life. Maybe it's your 2 ears so you can hear. Maybe it's the 2 eyes that you have in order to see. Maybe it's the fact that cars are an invention that allow you to drive down the road and get to work when we used to have to take a horse and buggy. Maybe it's the fact that we have paved roads that allow you to get to where you need to get to. Maybe it's the fact that the English language was invented before you were even on this earth, meaning you didn't have to create it. Maybe you can be grateful for all of the books that you can read and enjoy, which, by the way, throughout the next few months, you might be reading a lot of books. So next time you read a book, think about how someone took 10 years of their life and compressed it into an easy-to-read book between two covers with a bunch of pages full of knowledge and information that someone took their decades and compressed them into a nice little book that you can enjoy. There's so many things that we can be grateful for. And check this out. If you're feeling bad, if you're in a disempowering state, then the moment you feel grateful, you're going to change your state. And it's impossible to feel sad, angry, annoyed, ungrateful. It's impossible to feel those ways when you are in an attitude of gratitude. Whenever I'm feeling down, I think of my wife. I think of my 2 cats. I think of my perfect health. I think of the fact that I have 2 arms and 2 legs, and if you don't have those things, think about what you do have. If you're watching this and you're seeing the captions, then you have eyes and you have vision. If you're listening to me, then you can hear me. Be grateful for the things that you do have. Live in an attitude of gratitude, because check this out. The other cool thing about gratitude is, especially in a time of uncertainty and a time of crisis like we're going through right now, you can be grateful for your health. Okay, now check this out. You might be saying, well, I'm not grateful for my health. I'm overweight. I'm fat, blah, blah, blah. Then, number one, tell yourself who got you there. You did, because you put certain things in your mouth and you didn't work out a certain amount. That's why you're there. But think about this. Think about how you aren't currently infected. Think about how you don't currently have a cold. You don't have a fever. You feel healthy. You feel like you can stand up and you could go to work out if you wanted to. Think about how you are grateful for your perfect health. And I'll tell you what, throughout my mornings, I have a routine every morning where I'm grateful for 3 things in my life. And I switch up what those things are every single day, and many of them get repeated because I feel that there's only a certain amount of things you can be grateful for after doing this exercise for years. But every single morning, I say to myself, sometimes out loud and sometimes in my head, depending on where I am, I'll sit there, and it's during the time of my morning when I meditate, which I'll talk about in a future video, but I'll say to myself, I am so happy and grateful for my perfect health. I am so happy and grateful to be married to such an incredible individual that is my wife. I am so happy and grateful to still have both of my parents in my life, alive and well and also healthy. And I'll sit there, and after each thing that I say, after each one of those, I'll see in my mind my perfect health. I'll see myself in my mind the way that I want to look. I'll feel through my body the way that I want to feel. And I stay there for a second and I envision that, because you're going to notice this. Go ahead and try it. Think of something that makes you absolutely grateful. What are you grateful for in your life? And once you decide what that is, think about it in your mind and see it in your mind's eye and feel the way that you would feel when you're grateful. See what you would see in that situation. Think about the person that makes you grateful. Think about their smiling face. Think about them after you haven't seen them for a few days or a week or a month. Think about them in that way. And then feel the way that you feel once you're thinking about that. You probably either feel jittery, you feel butterflies, you feel a weightlessness to your body, because gratitude is unlike any other emotion. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that we can feel and one of the most beautiful states that we can live in. And the beautiful thing about gratitude is you can step into it whenever you want to. So the next time you go on your smartphone and see the news about the coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever other name they want to give it, then rather than feel down and afraid and fearful, maybe this time, think about something that makes you grateful. And if it's a person, give that person a call. Go see them, as long as they don't have it, okay? But go see them and spend time with them, because that's only going to build your gratitude. And something else, the more you think about how healthy you are, the more your body believes that you are in perfect health. And think about this, if the virus does come into town, and you're telling yourself every single day that you are in perfect health and you're grateful for your perfect health, do you think it's going to be easier for you to get that virus or more difficult? It's an obvious question. It's going to be more difficult because you're consciously telling your subconscious mind every single day that you are perfectly healthy. And because your subconscious believes that, it's going to bolster your body and bolster your immune system so as to protect you against something that comes in to harm you. Adopt and practice gratitude. Even once this is past, even once the crisis is over, adopt gratitude every single morning, every single night, and during the day when you need it, because it will absolutely change your life. Now, the third way you can deal in a time of uncertainty and a time of crisis like the one that we're in right now is to ask yourself another question, and that is this: what does this mean? Think about that. What does this mean? What does this crisis mean? What does it mean now that our world has coronavirus and it's in more places now than it was a week or two ago? It's just growing and growing. Does this mean chaos? Does this mean despair? Does this mean fear? Does this mean sickness? Or does this mean that while dealing with this, we're becoming more resourceful as human beings? By dealing with this, we are becoming more knowledgeable about how to prepare for something like this in the future. Does this mean that maybe as a community, we're coming together more than we've ever have, because we have to fight this as a species now. We have to fight these as human beings, and we have to come together to help each other and come together as one in order to overcome this. What does this mean? Because you choose the meaning that you attach to anything that happens in your life. If you have a negative situation, if you got broken up with by your girlfriend or your wife, if you started to gain weight, whatever happens to you, you attach and assign a meaning to whatever that is. So I prefer to give this a powerful meaning, a meaning of we're going to get through this. And because we're going to get through this, in order to do that, we have to come together as a community. We have to come together as a collective, which is why I make this video for you right now. If this helps one person to control their emotional state and become strong and become a leader through this situation, then this 2 hours that it took to record this video was well worth it, because we have to come together. We have to help each other. What does this mean? Personally, I think that this is the next chapter of our life. This is an important chapter that we'll never forget. But this is also molding us into the next level of who we were meant to become. So ask yourself the question, what does this mean? That's tip number 3. And the last tip that I have for you throughout this time of crisis is become resourceful. Do what you need to do in order to earn money during this time, in order to provide for your family. Take that time that you now have while you're home, whether you're quarantined or just staying home to be safe, or maybe your job has closed or the schools have closed, which a lot in this area have closed. What are you going to do with the time that you now have at home? Are you going to sit there and complain? Are you going to sit there and mope about how everything is happening and watch TV and watch Netflix and live in fear? Or are you still going to do what you need to do in order to earn income for your family, in order to strengthen your skills, in order to become a stronger individual? Become more resourceful, because just because you don't know how to do something right now doesn't mean you can't learn how to do it. Think about this. I have so many people I talk to that want to start a business eventually, but they're waiting until they have the experience. They're waiting until they have the skills. They're waiting until the time is right in order to do it. They're waiting until they have all the financial capital and all the resources in order to do it. And guess when those people normally start the business? They don't. They never begin, because they're waiting for all of these things to line up. And check this out. This, going back to the last thing, what does this mean? The last tip we just talked about. This could mean that you now have the time that you need in order to start that business. Whoa, look at how conveniently placed this crisis is. Now that you're home and you have all the time in the world, you can go on things such as Craigslist and sell a bunch of stuff around your apartment or your home that you don't use. That's a great way to earn money. Sell the guitar you haven't played in 10 years, Bob. You're probably not going to go back to it. Or you can go on Angie's List and you can put yourself on there as someone who can provide a service to someone to add value. You can go on Fiverr.com, Fiverr with 2 R's at the end, which is a marketplace where you can put your skills on the website, such as video editing or copywriting or writing essays for people, because people are still going to school during this crisis. They still need help with stuff like that. They still need help with research. They need help with creating websites and creating web pages. Learn a new skill and market that skill online in order to make money in the meantime, especially if your job is stopped. Even if they're giving you a small stipend or a small amount of money while you're not working, why not take this time to learn something new and monetize it? Why not take this time to start the business that you've been wanting to start, but you just haven't had the time to do it? This is a perfect opportunity for you to do that. So become resourceful. Monitor your attitude. Ask yourself, what does this mean? Ask yourself, what can I control? and become resourceful. That way, once we're on the other side of this and you do go back to work, you have new high-income skills that you can use to earn money and to add value to other people and to help other people at the same time. So become resourceful with your newfound amount of time that you have. That's tip number 4. So there you have it, 4 tips with how to emotionally get through any crisis that you experience, especially the one that we're working through right now with coronavirus. But it doesn't just have to be corona. This could be any crisis that you experience in your life throughout this event or after this event, because there's always going to be crises. It's all about what do you do in order to capitalize on those crises, not just monetarily, but with your time and with your skills and abilities and with your health. What are you going to do to make a difference? Because right now at this time, we need leaders more than any other time. We need people to step up and create content to help people. We need people to step up and become leaders in their community, become a leader with their family, become a leader with everyone in their friend circle and everyone they know, to help everyone through this, because there's a lot of negativity out there right now. So we need leaders to spread the positivity. So if you found any of these tips helpful, hit the like button below. Make sure to leave a comment with which one was your favorite and which one you're going to use, as well as any questions you might have after watching this video. And be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell. That way you're notified of all new content that I release each week. I'll talk to you soon.